I went out to Smashwords Guidelines, cleaned up my document, went in and learned how to do my Word doc, because that's when I finally learned.
Finally learned Word.
When I got desperate, I finally learned. And went back to the Word document, cleaned it up, put the headers in there, and saved it for the web filter, and then off I go to Calibre. And Calibre has worked great for me. Other people may have had some issues with it. I tend to think they have issues because they didn't have their document right to begin with. So it's not, you think, I want to do self-publishing, that sounds great, I can do this. It's not as easy as you think it is, and it does take time, and it will take time away from your writing. But it is an option. And I've published 18 books so far, so I mean, it can be done, and it can be semi-profitable. I'm not making tons of money, but I'm making money at it. So, and as I put more out there, the more that my backlist will sell.
And she takes credit for doing the formatting on the Turpentine Creek.
Yeah, I did the formatting for the ebooks on the Turpentine Creek short stories, as well as putting the Create Space. I had to learn how to do Create Space in order to put that book together. So it wasn't that hard. I say that, but it also, most books have chapters, and a lot of your the e-publishing side of that was difficult because all of those chapters are not chapters, they're titles. And the converters key off the word chapter. So I had to really challenge myself on that, and instead of using page breaks, I used section breaks. And that's probably more information than you guys wanted at this point. So if you're writing chapter books, you're right on, just keep on going. If you're writing one that has titles instead of chapters, just email me and I'll tell you how to do it.
I suspect that if you've done the first 6, number 7 gets a little easier to figure out.
Yeah.
I mean, really, because
it still was a challenge. It was still a challenge because I was comfortable with Calibre, with converting, and because Calibre also gives you a table of contents if you ask it to. And people like that table of contents when they're going in to read your book because they want to, I want to skip right to chapter 4 because I've already read the first 3 chapters. I didn't have chapter names, so it wasn't giving me a table of contents. And so I had to go back in and figure out how to do that. And so it was a challenge, but it's doable. It's actually doable. I can do it. Anybody can do it. I'm not a rocket scientist. So, some of the other products that are out there, I went ahead and listed them. I don't use them. I've used Moby Pocket Creator. I started out by publishing some of my Amazon books through doing the conversion through Moby Pocket Creator. Actually, Calibre is much easier. Just go to your Moby converter there. You take your HTML document and it'll convert it right to Moby, and Amazon takes it right. Judo is another. I think this is one that you have to pay for. It's a software system that you have to pay for that will do the conversions for you. Some people swear by it, think it's the best thing since sliced bread. I've heard that it has a higher learning curve than Calibre. So if you're just starting out, I would go with Calibre. It's a little easier to learn. And then Adobe InDesign is another way to format your books rather than doing it through Word. It's more expensive than, I mean, most people will have Word on their computer if they're writing, and most people will have Word. InDesign is expensive, so, but I understand though that it's actually very good for documents.
It has a tiny learning curve.
Yeah. I have the Creative Suite, which includes, the Creative Suite has the Photoshop and it has the Dreamweaver and all that stuff where you can design web pages, and it's got the whole shebang, and I use like this much of it because it's got the learning curve that is, I'm not a rocket scientist and it needs one, so yeah. So look for the things that make it easy for you. I would like that. Okay, so that's formatting of a book, but every book, you think, why does a book on an e-book have to have a cover? Yeah, when I first started seeing e-books, I thought, well, this is kind of dumb. No, people buy books based on the cover. They don't care what's inside it. Boy, that's a pretty cover. I gotta have that book. Yeah, I'm looking at this one over here by Margaret Etheridge, the one with the wedding dress and the shoes. I love that cover. I would buy the book because the cover attracted me. It's the same as if it was sitting on a shelf. You gotta have a cover, and it better be something that attracts the attention you want. You know, it better say something about your book, about the genre that you're writing in. That one tells to me it's light. It tells me that it's going to be fun.
You're wrong.
and sassy. And it looks a little sassy. And that's what, you know, that's probably what she was aiming for. And it tells me the tone of the book. And, you know, this one's kind of dark, you know, and it's got the couple on it, so you know you're getting a romance, but it's dark, it's sinister, and that's what I wanted it to be. You know, I'm lucky I got it, you know, because Harlequin doesn't always give me what I want. But and of course you got the kind of the Western background, you got the cute guy, and you got a lovely romance. But so you want a cover that tells a little bit about your book, the tone, and it grabs the reader to want to look further. And then you have to have the blurb that goes with it. That's going to be the description. When you go load it onto Amazon or you load it onto Pubbit, which is the Barnes & Noble, it's called Pubbit. And you want to make sure that your description is, first of all, you want a short, concise one that grabs their attention to begin with, that tells just enough that they want to read farther. But it tells enough that it tells you who's your hero, who's your heroine, and what are they facing. Okay, and then you can go into a longer description that tells a little bit more about that. But you have to have these things in mind and when you're starting to set these up. But your cover art, let me go a little bit more into the cover art. Things that you could do to get your cover art up there. If you want it all in your control, buy a copy of Photoshop. Learn how to use it. But don't think you're going to be the best thing in the world starting out, because it's not easy. Pay somebody for cover art. I've seen some beautiful cover art. Delilah gets beautiful cover art made. I do my own, I'm still learning, and some of mine look like that. So it may not attract as well, but I'm getting better, and I think that I'm getting pretty much as good as some of the folks that are out there that are doing cover art design. But it took me a while to learn that. And you want a good product. And you have to have it in certain size formats in order for it to be loaded up onto Amazon or Pubbit. So you've got to get familiar with what they want and make sure that whatever artwork you have that you make yourself is in the right shape and size, and DPIs, which is very important. DPI is very important. If you don't understand that, then you need to pay somebody else to do your artwork, because DPI is important. And then, I lost my train of thought. I do that a lot. There are places, so you can hire somebody to make your cover art for you. That might be the simplest thing. And you can pay anywhere between, I don't know, some people do it cheap, maybe $25 to $150 for a good cover for e-publishing. When you go to CreateSpace, it's a bigger print. You have more. It's a bigger document. You have more on it. You have more content on the back. And if you open the book and you hold it like this, that's what you're looking at for the cover art for that. On an ebook, it's just the front. So on CreateSpace, you're going to pay more. You're going to pay more to get that cover art. But it can be done, and you can do it yourself. And there are places that will teach you. There are YouTube videos for just about everything in the world out there. You can just go Google. If you want to know something, go out to Google, and you'll find a YouTube video on just about anything, from fixing your ice maker to making a book cover. So do a YouTube lookup. And there are stock photos out there. iStock photo, I have a list of some of them on the last part of that handout there. Find some really good photos. That's what they do with these things. They get a good photo, and then they layer in the pictures around it, so that you've got the people on the front, and you want to get the sinister feel, so you layer in some dark backgrounds, and it's all about layering. And there's lots of photographs out there that you can choose from. But be careful, because everybody else is choosing from them too. And so you may have the same cover that everybody else has. So keep that in mind.
I want to say too that there are freelancers out there that are well versed in Photoshop, InDesign, photography, all of that. It may behoove you to use that person. Say, this is what I want. They can go out, they find it, they speak this language, you don't have to. And all you have to say is, okay, this is what I like, and then they can upload it from there. I mean, you can do it yourself, but if you want to save time and hair on your head,
yes,
you can hire people.
Yes. And starting out, I would highly recommend you pay somebody else to do a cover. But you don't have to be taking the cleaners to get it done.
One word of warning, though, don't just pull any picture off the internet that you find and use it. You need to pay for it.
Copyright
You need to
infringement.
pay for it, because if you get caught in violation of copyright laws, it can cause all kinds of problems for your book. So you go to a website that has an agreement with the artist or with the cover model, and you purchase the right. They're not very expensive. You can get good cover art, or good pictures for $3, $4, $5 or more, depending on what you want and what you want to pay. But don't just go, oh, that's a cool picture, let me use that on my cover, because, otherwise you can get in some trouble.
Well, she talked earlier about flexibility. If you learn how to do your own cover, or if you pay somebody else to do your cover art, when you're self-publishing, you have the option of going back in and changing that cover art. If it's not working, if it's not selling, you might want to consider changing the cover art on it. And I've done that. One of my projects that I did called Sex Ed, I changed that cover. Right now it's on its 4th iteration. But the 3rd iteration actually is just the 4th one's kind of sort of like the 3rd one. The 3rd iteration was the cover. And so it started selling after I changed the cover to that cover. It started selling much better. So you will be able to tweak it. That's the nice thing about self-publishing. I'm enjoying that because I can go in and tweak it if it's not working for me. Plus, the cool thing about self-publishing is you can put the links to your books, your other books, your backlist at the end of your manuscript on e-publishing, and they can click right there and then go right to the next manuscript. So, yay, there you go, you're selling it right away. You're not waiting for them to go look it up on Amazon, it's taken right there. So you got them, you reel them in. You got to keep that repeatable business thing going. Okay, so that's all I had to say about that. So,
Well, I just did it.
thank you. I'm not really good at this. You don't get this, do you? You did.
I did have my
Okay, you're good. Okay, so where do I go to self-publish? There are a lot of places, and there seems to be more growing every day, it seems. Amazon is probably the best-selling place. If you don't do any place else, make sure you put your book on Amazon. Absolutely on Amazon. I think I do most of my business there. About half as much on Barnes & Noble, and trickles on the rest of them. But Amazon is the place to go. Get your book up on Amazon. And that's where you're going to make the most money at it. Barnes & Noble has their version of it called Pubit. And actually, these are they're not rocket science kind of things. You can load them up. It's pretty easy. You might want to have your duckies in a row and ready to load. Have your document or your manuscript all converted. Have your cover art ready where you can get to it. Have your description all written out because you want to know, you want to make sure it's clean and that it's been edited so that you don't have any spelling errors in it. And have that ready. And also metadata. You need your tags, your metadata. This is how people find things. Oh, I want to read a cowboy western. So your metadata might be cowboy western. And, so you have those things ready so that you're not just going, what was it? Have it all ready.